Sarah, how did you hear about Toastmasters, and what is it that you would love to get out of Toastmasters?
Well, I heard about Toastmasters through Kimmy, so I'm really happy to be here and kind of just get a chance to see what it's like, learn from I heard there was a lot of speeches happening today, so kind of learn from the different speakers and maybe even see if this would be a good club for me to be able to join someday and be able to like develop my own speaking abilities. So I'm really happy to be here.
I'm really thrilled you're here, and it's a great place to build your confidence speaking and to get those skills in all that will translate to all areas of your life.
Definitely.
Yeah, so how about, let's see, I've got Marlo. Marlo, could you unmute yourself and tell us how you got here and what you hope to get from Toastmasters today?
Well, thank you for asking. I come from a long, circuitous route. In 1983, I went through a second divorce, and I decided it was time to do something different. And I got invited by someone to go to a club, and the club was called Early Risers. And so my life with Toastmasters was kind of short-lived because I was not an early riser.
Me neither.
And then I got invited by Cynthia to come to Oakland, and Oakland just seems like the other end of the world from Healdsburg. So never did that. So thank you to COVID for making this accessible, and thank you, Michael Ann, for getting me in here to be a guest today.
Well, I'm thrilled that you're here, and we all are thrilled that you're here because this is a great opportunity to connect, especially during COVID, when we're dealing with the challenges of being isolated. And as you can see, there are a lot of friendly faces here. Let's see. I'm trying to scan to see who other, Tafiq. Tafiq, would you be willing to tell us how you found Toastmasters and what you hope to get out of being a part of this?
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure being here among all of you, and thanks to COVID again that we are catching across various globe time zones. I'm here because of DTM Cynthia. She introduced me to Heart2Heart, and also Linda to get me into Leaders Worldwide, registered. So it's a pleasure being among all of you, and different time zones and different faces and different beautiful faces at different time zones. Hats off. Thank you.
It definitely makes the world feel a lot smaller, doesn't it?
Kimmy, we have 2 additional guests, and Michelle, you may want to take another picture.
Yeah.
Louise and Alexandra have just joined us.
Somebody else just joined too, so.
Louise, hey.
Okay, so why don't I go with, I don't know whether Lori Creans is a guest or not, but I'll go with Louise next. And Louise, well, and actually, Lori, if you are a guest, you can. Oh, perfect. Okay.
I'm taking care of that.
Okay.
There's no need to have anybody else do anything. I'm taking care of it.
So, Louise, how did you hear about Heart2Heart, and what do you hope to get out of today?
Well, I'm a 25-year member of Toastmasters, and I was on Facebook and happened to see your little flyer, and I said, I'd like to check them out. I live in California, up in Sacramento area, and just wanted to see how you do the meetings.
Wow, so you found us on Facebook. That's fabulous. Yay, our advertising is working. We like that. Thank you. How about Alexandra? What a beautiful name. Alexandra, how did you hear about our club, Heart2Heart, and what do you hope to get out of today?
Hello, my name is Alexandra. I am from Uruguay, South America.
Wow, awesome.
I found you in Meetup. I just Google search Meetup and found you. And my camera is not working. I don't know why. If I close everything, maybe I can fix it, or I can continue like this, but I don't know why it is black. It's not, it didn't turn on, so I'm sorry. I don't know if it is okay. If not, I have to get out of Zoom and turn off the computer and turn it on again, and maybe I can fix it. But
So
let's
up
see.
on the top left of your screen, you should see the Zoom where it says zoom.us. And if you go down, there's a preference button, and you may be able to set your video that way without leaving. But we look forward to seeing your face.
Where did you say?
On the top left, en la izquierda.
Izquierda. See, no, I stopped my video and turning on, and it's still in black. So it's a problem with my computer.
Okay,
Okay.
so just a suggestion, you might want to see if there's anything obscuring your camera lens.
No.
No? Okay.
Is that the computer have too many things open? So it's sometimes happen with Zoom. I don't know why. So
Okay.
in order to fix it, I have to close everything, being out of the meeting. It can take me like 10 minutes. So maybe I will do it. I don't.
You know, Alexandra, just stick around and just stay because
Okay.
can you see us? Can you see?
Yes, I see you, all of you, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's great.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose you. So
We don't want to lose you. Yeah, stick around. We're glad to have you.
Can't you just
Okay.
change your screen without leaving Zoom? Because you can leave the screen, go back and delete something else and just come back to Zoom.
No, I have to turn off my computer and turn it
Okay.
again. So with that, I will leave Zoom and
Just stay.
just stay. It's fine. It's perfect. And then
Okay,
next
thank
time you
you.
could have your video ready. Because
Perfect.
you to come back. Okay. Buenos tardes. Is it tardes in where you are in Uruguay?
Yeah, it's night here.
Oh,
It's
buenas noches. Okay.
Buenas noches. 9 p.m.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. Okay, so now let's welcome Lori. Lori, how did you hear about us, and what do you hope to get out of today? Lori, can we hear you? I think I saw you unmute yourself. Okay, I don't know how to. She's unmuted.
Yeah, Kimmy, we don't have controls from here around that.
Yeah, so she's unmuted. I can see that. But so Lori, there will be a little opportunity a little later to be able to say something. So stick around. I'm glad you're here. And now I'd like to introduce our Toastmaster of the day, and that is Jeannie Alfred.
Wait, I think we didn't have
What?
Deb introduce herself, did we?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Deb. I apologize because you're also joining. So it says speaker and I missed it. So welcome. And how did you find us? And what do you hope to get out of today?
Well, thank you for the welcome. I found you through Annabelle, who I met at a meetup. And I attended as a guest 2 months ago. Or was it last month? Wow, can't even remember. And I loved it. So I decided to join. What do I hope to get out of it? Confidence speaking. I do a lot of speaking, but I have lots of ums and ahs, and I would just like to feel more confident.
Well, you are in the right place. So I'm glad you're here, and I know you're speaking today, which is awesome. And I love that you are just diving in. And in fact, Tawfiq is, I think, speaking today too. So this is awesome. And two brand new people are going to be speaking, and you're being inducted today. Awesome. So with that said, I'd love to introduce our Toastmaster of the day, and that is Jeannie Alfred. And Lori is having a little trouble getting the agenda. If somebody could attend to that, that would be fabulous.
I'm going to have to repost it because she came in afterwards, so I'll take care of that.
Thank you, my dear.
And if everybody could sign the online guest list, I put that in the chat just now, and I'll reissue it after we get everybody on board.
Wonderful.
But please sign up.
You're muted.
I'm done.
No, not you, Jeannie.
First and foremost, let me say Happy New Year.
Yeah!
Happy New Year.
Everybody, 1, 2, 3. Happy New Year! I found that New Year's Eve, being alone, watching all the stuff on TV, that, was normal. That's my normal New Year's Eve, but it felt different because everybody was doing that. But what that does is give us a chance to extend that energy, saying Happy New Year. And before we start, I just want to share my favorite meme that came over Twitter. It was Doc Brown and what's his name? Marty McFly from Back to the Future. They're standing in front of the machine, the one that does the gigawatts. And Doc Brown says, Marty, whatever you do not send it back to 2020. It was perfect. We
That
get
is
to
so
change.
great.
We get to change. We get to reset our intention. And 2021 is going to be a great year. I know it in my heart. Now, that said, I'd like to remind you of the Zoom etiquette. We should all be muted. We want to be able to hear the speaker and not have crosstalk. Everybody's changed their name to their role, which it looks like that's done, which is great. And keep in mind that you have down in the lower section of your screen reactions. So you can always do a clap there, but we also do this. And so you don't hear the noise, but you can see it. So we can give some visual feedback. So today we have a theme, and that is 2020 hindsight, which I think is great. Looking at the topics that we're going to be hearing in the speakathon, which a speakathon for our guests is more of a concentration on all the speakers. We have different types of meetings and different things that we do. So we don't do table topics during a speakathon, for example. But the speakathon is a great time because we really get a chance to listen to a number of different speakers and learn from what they do and how they give it, and learn from the evaluators who give us positive feedback and ways to stretch and grow. And that's what we're here for, to stretch and grow. So the theme is 2020 hindsight, and we're also doing an open house. And the open house is a time for us to be able to show what we do, how we do it, and welcome you into the family. So if you do decide you want to join our club, you can talk to Cynthia at any time. And we would love to open up our doors to have more members like you come to join us. So great. The first thing we're going to do is what we call our Heartmaster opening. And I'm going to invite Michael Ann to jump in. She is our Heartmaster this week. Michael Ann Connolly, Heartmaster.
Welcome, everyone. We're going to take a moment to experience 2020 hindsight. So if you would be so kind to let your eyes close. You can, even if you want to stop your video, feel free to do that. And just begin to monitor your breath. Wherever you start, whether it's on the out breath or the movement between the out breath and the in breath, back and forth, just imagine it's like a figure 8. And as you're noticing your breath, we're going to have you have the experience of literally letting go. In that figure 8, you're going to come to the top of an in-breath, and at that moment, intentionally exhale and empty your lungs as much as comfortably possible. And then notice what happens next, just by nature. The next thing that will happen will be a deep inhale. And then when you come to the next exhale, when you exhale, you are releasing carbon dioxide that are toxic to your body. So hindsight 2020, we're releasing 2020 when we exhale. And then allowing the new to come in. bringing in the oxygen that's food for us. Now, even though there may have been really good things that happened for you in 2020, the nice thing to know is that you're exhaling that which you no longer need. An interesting thing about that is when you inhale, allowing the breath to come in, you are receiving nourishment from the plants, because oxygen to them is just like carbon dioxide to us. So when they breathe out to us, they are releasing 2020 hindsight. So out, exhale, and then allow your body to breathe in without you having to do anything to make it happen. It will automatically happen by nature if you exhale with intention. Just notice that. And this is something you can do at any time in the meeting. You can do it on your own, quietly, if you find yourself needing to release and say goodbye to what's no longer useful and to take in what's new. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Michael Ann. It's always good to remember how to breathe and to breathe in deeply. Excuse me. So we had a couple of agenda changes. If you look on the back, on the second page, around 4:56, we do a time break, and then we're going to take a 5-minute break instead of a 10-minute break. And then we're going to do a short new member induction ceremony with Cynthia Stott. So basically the changes, we're going to go from 10 minutes to 5-minute break, and then do the new member induction. And that's all the changes we had this time. I'm going to invite our first evaluator, Lynn Fraley, to come up. She is evaluating our first speaker. Lynn? Lynn,
how about if I unmute? Does that work better?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm here to say that I'll be evaluating Kimmy, whose title is How These 3 Core Drives Can Change Your Life. Visionary communication, L3, and it's connecting with your audience. And she's going to be doing storytelling.
Great, thank you. So let me invite Kimmy Avery to come. Kimmy, how these 3 core drives can change your life. How these 3 core drives can change your life. Kimmy Avery.
In my work as a relationship navigation specialist, I see relationship challenges all the time. That's what I do. I look for how men and women are challenged relating personally and professionally. What I'm noticing is that there's a root problem that happens, and it has to do with integrity. And recently, I started studying with a man named Dr. David Gruder after reading his book called The New IQ, which is highly recommended. It's transformative of people's lives. And I was very moved by what I learned there. As a relationship navigation specialist, I've been studying love and relationships my entire life. I started my spiritual training when I was about 5. I found my first church. I've been studying neuro-linguistic programming for 25 years almost. I'm a neuro-linguistic programming, that's NLP, master practitioner and trainer. And I have a master's in counseling and a bachelor's in family studies and human development. By the age of 36, I had been to not 1, but 2 weddings of men I was deeply in love with. And let me tell you, I was jaded, frustrated, angry, confused. What the hell is wrong with me? Like, what is it? I'm creative, I'm fun, I'm intelligent. Like, what is wrong? And I took a course. I was introduced to it by an ex-boyfriend, actually, called Celebrating Men, Satisfying Women. And it blew my mind. I'd had a very challenged relationship with my dad. We fought up until this time. And he had in fact invited me to live at his house in a 2-bedroom house. And within the first 3 hours, this is for graduate school, so he invited me to stay there. Within the first 3 hours, we were already having a massive fight. And it was pretty uncomfortable and pretty scary. So I stayed, it was frustrating. Then I took this course. And like magic, I learned that men want to contribute to you. They want to provide and protect for you. And I started seeing my father as somebody who wanted to take care of me. He wanted to provide for me. And it rewrote my entire history. Not only that, it helped me to meet and marry my husband, which would not have happened, I guarantee, if I had not learned this. So with that said, it changed the trajectory of my life. So my regular coaching turned into relationship coaching. My experience transformed. And now I'm at the precipice of a brand new transformation. I learned 25 years ago in NLP that integrity was vital to me. It was so critical to my life. And in being married, integrity is challenged, to say the least. You have to deal with yourself, you have to deal with the other person. And I want to tell you about one of my clients. He came to see me. Well, I'm working with a couple, but he was doing some private work with me because I often do individual sessions, and I'm going to call him Leonardo. Leonardo said, I want to figure out my next 25 years of my life. He was focused his whole life on him as an individual. He was focused on personal integrity. He was focused on personal integrity. And that is the number one of the 3 core drives that are essential. So integrity, he was working on himself. He'd been living that, but he was missing out on synergy, which is about the relationship, about having authenticity and integrity within a relationship. I like to call that interdependence. And he was also missing out on stewardship. That is what you contribute to the world, how you bless the world with your unique gifts. In his situation, we did an exercise where we looked at his whole timeline. I took him out to 100 years old. So he's 60 years old. I took Leonardo out to 100 years old. And here he is, a little old man, and he's looking back at his life. And I said, Leonardo, what message do you have for the you back then? What message do you have to give him? And he said, I am so proud that you worked on your relationship, that you made the situation with the love of your life thrive, and that you took that wisdom and shared it with the world. I feel fulfilled. He was moved by that. I could hear him crying on the other end of the phone. And then I had him step into the shoes. 40 years later, I'd stretched it from 25 to 40 years. So I'm getting him 100 years old. So I had him step into the shoes of his grandson. What it's like to grow up with a man of integrity. And his grandson went from 8 years old to 48 years old. And he said, Grandpa, I am so humbled by the wisdom that you shared with me throughout your life. It made me a better man. And then I had him step into, so I still heard tears in the background. Then I had him step into his wife's shoes. And she said, honey, thank you for being true to yourself and joining me in this blessing of a partnership that we've had all these years. Then I brought him back into his own body at 60 years old with the wisdom of these three. And I could hear him weeping on the end of the phone. And he said, I'm still sad. And I said, I still feel something. And he said, I'm afraid to let go of the man who brought me here. So I had him step on his timeline and be 60 years old and step into his future self. Just one moment past where he was in our session. Feel the skin coming off of him and then stepping in to his future and blessing the him that had come before. What would you do? What would your life be like if you stepped into your authenticity and your integrity? Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Oh, that's the problem. The time that we give, the 1 minute we give right now is for the evaluator to be able to take time to put their thoughts down. Okay, thank you, Rosanna. If you're interested, you can look at Rosanna or maybe pin Rosanna on your screen so you can see the timing. She leaves out cards. So you see blue, you see green, red, and yellow. Green means you have a short time left. Yellow means better wrap it up, and red means it's time to stop. So if you notice that, you can pin her and watch our speakers. I'm going to now invite Cynthia Stott to come to the spotlight. Cynthia is the evaluator for Tawfiq Kadir. Cynthia?
Thank you. Let me read his evaluation. Guidelines for his speech. This is the icebreaker speech. It's the very first speech that they give to the club. And in this speech, the new member is to introduce himself or herself to the club and begin speaking before an audience. The speech should have a clear beginning, body, and ending. The speaker has been advised to use notes if necessary and not to be concerned with gestures. Be encouraging and point out the speaker's strong points while gently and kindly mentoring other areas that can improve. Strive to have the speaker look forward to giving another speech. Your evaluation should help the speaker feel glad about joining Toastmasters and presenting the speech. Okay, that's his icebreaker.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you.
And I will bring Tawfiq Kadir to the spotlight. Tawfiq Kadir, prosperity. Prosperity, Tawfiq Kadir.
According to you, what often produces abundant wealth? Any guesses? You're absolutely right if you're thinking of prosperity. Here I am in front of you. My name is Tawfiq, which in Arabic means asking our Lord for prosperity. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, esteemed guests, I didn't think until today on what I thought about myself, who I was, then who I am. And I guess that's why it's called the icebreaker. As I broke the ice to myself, I relaxed in writing my speech. In fact, I have learned and experienced the same for the last few years. I wouldn't have a clue on what potential I hold. Fortunately, I do have a clue now. Thanks to an open mind and the help of others, I've been able to wake up to a wonderful life, one in which I chose and what I should do. One thing I assure you, that I'm passionate about being Toastmaster. I want to have my icebreaker today, and that's why I'm awake in the middle of the night. I was introduced to leaders worldwide by Toastmaster Muhammad and DTM Cynthia, who gave me an opportunity to be a chartered member on how I can express and overcome the fear of facing the crowd. Here, I was born again, like I did 40 years ago to my parents, Mr. Abdul Qadir and Mrs. Dilshad. I was born and raised in the Kingdom of Bahrain, the island of pearls. More so, known as a place located somewhere in Saudi Arabia. There's a general perception that people in the Gulf are born with a golden spoon. Certainly, I wasn't. We had a house made of clay. And I do remember, and always reminded by my mother, that I was a mischievous child on the block. One time, I almost broke my eardrum using a Q-tip to get the earwax, as if I was plucking the egg from my ears. During my college days, I was more inclined to computers. As it happened, during those days, it came a subject by Bill Gates introduced Microsoft. That in turn opened the gates for so many inspiring individuals planning to make a career in the field of computers. I finished my bachelor's in computer systems from University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada. I fell in love with something called marketing, and that inspired me to take over masters during my internship. Selling and marketing came natural to me as it was like in my bloodstream. However, I needed some fine-tuning. Luckily, I fell into the hands of a tough general manager. As they say, when the going gets tough, the tough gets it going. I kept going, accepting every challenge, resulting in pursuing further special education engineering license in medical installations for the hospitals. Also turned out to be a blessing, resulting me and my team doing and setting up COVID centers in Bahrain recently. I can still get emotionally rough over insignificant things, and I can still spend sleepless nights chattering with my mind. I've chosen dynamic leadership in pathways, and I was inducted to VPPR team at Leaders Worldwide Club. Had an opportunity to design open flyers, YouTube, and newsletters, including the Heart2Heart. I enjoy working in teams, and it was a good challenge for me with working with Heart2Heart. It gives an opportunity to get the best out of me. Here I am as a guest in Heart2Heart. I wish to enroll myself as a member, playing any role which can help the club grow. I have a simple motto in life, which likes to keep the things simple. Keep your thoughts positive because your thoughts become your words. Keep your words positive because your words become your behavior. Keep your behavior positive because your behavior becomes your habits. Keep your habits positive because your habits become values. Keep your values positive because your values become your destiny. Thank you all. Over to you, Toastmaster man.
Thank you, Tawfiq. I appreciate it, and I appreciate that you're up at dark 30 in Bahrain to join us. Can I get 1 minute on the timer, please, for our evaluator? Thank you, Rosanna. Our next speaker is Sandra Edwards. So I'm going to invite Annabelle Colstock to come as the evaluator and let us know about what she'd be looking for. Annabelle?
Yes, thank you, Toastmaster. So Sandra Edwards is going to come on and do a speech under the understanding your communication style is the type of speech. And the purpose of this project is for the member to learn about different communication styles and identify his or her primary style. This particular speech, the purpose of this speech is for the member to share the impact of his or her style on others. So back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. So I'm going to invite Sandra Edwards to come to the front. Were you born to be a leader? Sandra Edwards. Were you born to be a leader? Sandra Edwards, come on up.
Did you know that your fingerprint patterns were fully developed before you were born? And these fingerprint patterns, they disclose the soul agenda, called soul agenda because it all happened before you were even born. And they indicate the reason that you are in this lifetime, your life purpose, your life lesson, a message from the universe. So you see, you could be born to be a leader. I'm going to tell you a story. Now, I have a client. We will call her Julia. Now, she came to me for a reading because she knew that I did scientific hand analysis, much different than the predictive palmistry traditions. And we soon learned that she had great potential for leadership. It's the pointy finger that's about leadership in combination with other markers to give her the nickname of Big Shot. Now, Julia was amazed by this. She had always thought leaders were a little pushy and you know, she just didn't want to go there. She was not living up to her potential until she learned that it was written in her hands, a message from the universe. Now, the next thing she learned is about her schools, like the University of Life, the eyes from which you see the world. Now, Julia's schools were service and love. You can imagine that her leading style is now from service and love, compassion. Her motto is now conscious leadership. Isn't that great? I love it. Conscious leadership. Now, your hands are a map to your life. And some of the markers show how your life purpose potential is supported. And some markers indicates the lessons and the challenges you must go through to get to your highest potential. Now, my own purpose is love. It's my job in this lifetime to learn how to love myself and all mankind. When I'm open to my feelings, authentic and real, I'm on purpose. When I'm fearful, I revert to numbness and I'm in my lesson. I'm not able to be my full self. Excuse me. So your lessons are the part of you that you just do not want to acknowledge. In fact, you might not even be aware of them. It could be a blind spot. Like people could be responding to you, to some part of you that you are just oblivious to. Now, isn't that a horrible thought? Oh, and we all have this stuff going on in our lives. Excuse me, our lessons exist for us to grow, opening us up for the space to fulfill your potential life purpose. Highest potential and the lessons work together, hand in hand, so to speak. Hand analysis also helps us see those lessons. And once we're aware of them, we can make the choice to change. Now, the other thing that Julia responded to was non-negotiable needs. Non-negotiable needs, that's discovered in one of the lines in the poem. And it tells us what we really need in relationship to be happy. That really comes in handy when you're choosing friends and even a romantic partner. Now, Julia's non-negotiable needs are connection and freedom. So she is happiest when she is connecting to people every day. And she also needs her time alone to rejuvenate. Now, I could have been talking about any other life purpose today. Artist, healer, innovator. But, you know, Toastmasters teaches leadership. And Julia was such a perfect example of born to be a leader. I can't see my notes. That's the problem here. So, were you born to be a leader? It's in your hands. Or maybe your highest potential is something totally different, because we are all different. Beloved and perfect. Now I believe in the goodness of man. And I'm committed to living my life to reflect that. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Can I get 1 minute on the clock, Rosanna? Thank you. I'm going to now start bringing up the evaluators for our first 3 speakers. And this, for our guests, is a time when we get feedback immediately that helps us improve as we speak. And we like to focus on what we did really well, and then what we can do to stretch and grow. It's a very positive kind of feedback, so don't be afraid. I'm going to invite Lynn Fraley to come to the front. Lynn is evaluating our first speaker, Kimmy Avery.
Kimmy, what a pleasure to be able to evaluate your lovely speech. I enjoyed how present you were, how you took up the full screen, that you spoke about content that was relevant to the audience. Everyone has to have relationships. Your stories were interesting and they were fun, especially being told by an old boyfriend about how you could really find your way a little bit more, which was cute. I appreciated your story about your father, which is always important, the family story. Love the red roses. Like that you had the 3 points behind you so we could look at them, and offered value to the audience. Something you might look at in the future is when you present and you tell us all of your credentials and all your degrees and all that in the beginning, it's a little bit, I found a little bit premature, because I trust you. And the fact that you have clients that you're working with, you clearly have to have some background. You might back off and bring that in a little bit later. Another thing, you spoke about different kinds of relationships. I would have like to have you talk a little bit about us, why we care, or have you thought about asking a question, something to bring us into the issue of relationships? I am curious about the integrity. You talked about how important that was, and then you spoke a little bit about your marriage. Anyone here who's married or has been married understands challenges of that. And you mentioned integrity, how important it was. And then you went into Leonardo. I'm thinking, no, that's not her husband, I think. But I'm like, it's the hanging Chad. I want to hear more about integrity in marriage. That was something that was put out there that maybe you'll address in a different speech. I do appreciate how you moved from one part, how you use our little monitors. You moved from one spot to the other, moving forward, moving backward, really engaging storytelling techniques, different timelines, different personas. You brought in the voice, you brought in the physicality. That was just all delightful. Or the relevancy of it, but I can ask you that in the chat. I just want to thank you for sharing so generously with us information about relationships and your storytelling. So thank you for bringing us along on your journey.
Thanks, Lynn. And now I'd like to invite Cynthia Stott to the front stage to give us her evaluation of Tawfiq Kadir. Cynthia?
Thank you, Jean. And Tawfiq was so tired, he had to leave. He had a headache. So I just really commend him for coming in at 3 o'clock in the morning. His speech was great. It really gave us a depth of getting to know him. We got to know him as a mischievous child and where he grew up and where he went to college. You got to know that he went to international college in British Columbia, and you got to know about him in his career and how he developed through his career. Very unique trajectory. He went from computers to marketing to medical equipment as an engineer and setting things up. So that was really great to see that journey of his life in 6 minutes. What I would have liked to see more of was more pauses. Pauses would really make his speech more rich, especially because English is his second language. It would help, or third or fourth, I don't know which, but he's a non-native English speaker. And we could really understand him more and be ready to hear his words when he paused before a phrase and after a phrase or a question. That would be really great. And pauses could help him with his humor. His speech was really humorous, but bringing in the pauses so that he kind of teases you with it would really help. And he could combine that with facial expressions and vocal variety. Like when his mother was saying that he was mischievous, saying he was a mischievous boy, and I did all these different things and to make it more animated, and that would really bring in more humor and help us to get to know him even better and maybe even understand his side of the mischievous things that he was talking about. So I really enjoyed his speech. I think the main thing he needs to focus on is pauses that would make it really, really rich, and facial expressions and vocal variety. But those things will come as he progresses in Toastmasters. I really appreciated his speech and I'm looking forward to more. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. And now I'd like to introduce Annabelle Comstock to come up and give us her evaluation of Sandra Edwards. Annabelle?
Thank you, Toastmaster. Thanks so much, Sandra, for your speech on the hand analysis. And I was fascinated from the beginning when you said that our fingerprints are there and they're in our fingers from before we're even born. And all of the information you were giving us about how your life potential is written there. It was all just so fascinating. And I love that you said you said that you do scientific. I had no idea that there was a difference between scientific hand analysis and predictive hand analysis, or palmistry. So there's so much there that I think a lot of us don't know about. It's really fascinating. And then it was really great that you had the story of the example of Julie. I think her name was Julie, and how you could tell that she was already a born leader. Now I know we have in this day and age, we have that argument about, are you born leader or can you learn to be a leader? And I think it's a little combination of both. But then there's probably something in a person from birth that helps them to be a more natural leader. But I liked that your speaking style was good and strong. You came across as very confident, and your voice was very steady. And I liked you had some good vocal variety. You had really good gestures, and you're talking about your hands. And I feel like you had a really good handle on, not a pun, on your gestures. One thing that it was a little bit distracting was that you're rocking a little bit when you're talking. So just note that next time, and then maybe just cut some of the things to make it better next time. Is just maybe to have ahead of time get a lamp that you can put next to you. I know that the lighting issue it's great when you can do this during the daytime. I know that the lighting can get difficult as the sun starts going down. But I thought the organization of your speech was good. The subject matter was fascinating, and I think that you did share the impact of your style on others. I love how you reflected on how your life mission is to help other people become their best self, basically through hand analysis. I would love to hear more too about exactly what you see, and maybe that's a little bit more technical. But I just was fascinated by the whole. By your whole speech. Thank you so much, Sandra. That was a really great speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Annabelle. Don't go too far.
Okay.
Because I'm inviting you right back up.
Right.
To give us a little bit of information about the contest rules and points to cite out on the agenda.
Okay. Yeah, we're having our annual club international speech contest next month. So that's an exciting time to be around and to become involved, because we are going to be hearing Sandra again. Sandra's going to compete. We have Isaac. Who else do I have? I have it over here. We have Sandra, Kimmy, Isaac, and Jeannie on our list as competitors. We also have room for people to help out as timers and ballot counters. So let me know if you'd want to help at the contest next month. Also, if you're interested in, I guess some of the guests here, if you're interested in membership, please make sure you talk to Cynthia to get enrolled. I know that you will. There she is. You will love to be part of this group, right? It's such a good group, and we have so many interesting people. And ask me what roles are still needed for our contest. Please think about signing up, and then we will be having a regular meeting again in March. But next month is our speech contest. So I think that's about all I have right now.
I'm up next, so I'll just start. So if we could spotlight Deb Peretz, she's going to be giving her icebreaker in a minute, but we're going to induct her into as a member into Heart2Heart. So give a wave, that Deb. Okay, so our secretary is Linda Patton. If all the members could send a yes vote so we're going to I'm going to propose that we adopt Deb Peretz as a new member. And if somebody could second that.
I'll second it.
Okay, great. And if you can send a chat to Linda Patton and just say yes or no, or abstain. Yes, no, or abstain for all our members. And let me know, Linda, when you have them all in. Is that everybody, Linda? So if you're a member, then you need to vote. Yeah. Okay, we have I think it's unanimous. Yeah. Congratulations, Deb. Okay, and now I'm going to do a little ceremony here. Membership in Toastmasters is a privilege, and the only way to gain the benefits of our program is to actively participate. I'm honored and excited to induct our newest member into Heart2Heart Toastmasters Club. Let me introduce you to the new member who is being accepted into our club. That's Deb Peretz. Yay! Tech monitor. Let's see. We did the voting, vote counter, and while we wait. Okay, so welcome new members. We'll need you to express your agreement to the following club promise. Here they are. And if you can post that on the screen for everybody, that would be great. Do you promise, do you, Deb Peretz, promise, it sounds like a marriage vows, but I promise you won't be legally bound by it. Do you promise to be an active member of the club, attend club meetings regularly, prepare all of your projects to the best of your ability, basing them on the Toastmasters Pathways Education Program, prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations, help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, treat your fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy, bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits that Toastmasters membership offers, and adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters education and recognition programs. Everybody unmute yourself. Okay, we already did I. And okay, now for the members. Oh,
say yes.
Okay. Okay. So you need to say yes, Deb. Do you agree
Yes.
to those promises? Okay.
I agree.
Yay!
Yay!
Okay. Now for our members. We, the members at Heart2Heart Toastmasters Club, pledge to support you in your quest for self-development, to provide you with positive, helpful evaluations, to maintain a friendly, supportive atmosphere, to give you opportunities to help others, and to make your Toastmaster membership a rewarding and fulfilling experience. And if you will say, I do.
I do.
Okay, it is my pleasure to officially welcome you as a member of Heart2Heart Toastmasters Club.
Yay!
Thank you.
Yay, yay, yay.
Welcome, Dad.
Best induction ever, Cynthia. Good job.
Oh, and I return it back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you.
Wow, she made up on time.
That's cool. So we're starting part 2 of our speak-a-thon. And one of the things we've already learned is with Zoom, we're always learning. So we're learning that we have to prep tech. And I can tell you, I've given presentations in the corporate world since the 1980s, and tech is always the Achilles heel. You can be as ready as possible, but tech will tell you that, ha 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 ha, you think you are. But this is one of the things that I'd like to point out to our new member is we're more than just learning how to speak. It's also learning how to be a leader, and it's also learning how to be flexible to make things work. So when the universe comes and messes up your Zoom, we can deal. At this point, I'm going to invite somebody you've never heard of before. She's brand new. I think she's kind of quiet. Her name's Cynthia Stott. And she's going to give us these speech objectives for our next speaker, Deb Peretz.
Great. Thank you, Jean. Okay, so Deb Peretz is also doing her icebreaker. And so I read those before. I'll kind of truncate it. In the speech, the new member is to introduce herself to the club and begin speaking for an audience. The speech should have a clear beginning, body, and ending. The speaker has been advised to use notes if necessary, but not be concerned with gestures. Be encouraging and point out the speaker's strong points while gently and kindly mentoring areas that could be improved. Strive to have the speaker look forward to giving another speech. Your evaluation should help the speaker feel glad about Toastmasters and presenting the speech.
Thank
Back
you,
to you.
Cynthia. And
Thank
now
you.
I invite Deb Peretz to the spotlight. Falling off the tower. Falling off the tower Deb Peretz.
Toastmaster, fellow members, and guests, I'm delighted to be the newest member of the Heart2Heart Toastmasters Club, and I appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself to you today. I am a coach, and I help primarily women entrepreneurs align their lives and their businesses with their karmic purpose. And this results in reduced stress, increased joy, attracting abundance, and living lives of meaning and purpose. But I wasn't always a coach. 5 years ago, I was happily ensconced in the ivory tower as a college professor, living my dream job. But I fell off that ivory tower, and on the way down, I did a 180-degree pivot in my career, and I'd like to tell you that story today. This is a tarot card. This is the Tower. I don't know if you can see it. And if you're unfamiliar with the tarot, I can tell you that it's probably one of the last cards you want to have in a reading. I mean, just look at it. You see all the flames and the lightning tearing down the tower, and you see these two frightened people pitched headlong into the unknown with the look of fear and horror on their faces. But even though that card looks kind of scary, it means unexpected, drastic change, life-altering change. And the truth is, it's really a positive card, because when the universe serves up this kind of drastic change, it usually means that you've gone down the wrong path and you are not living your best life. And it's giving you a wake-up call, maybe a 2x4 over the head, saying, all right, time for course correction. And that's what happened to me about 5 years ago. I was always the kind of person who I followed my heart, followed my gut. I seemed to always know what I wanted, and I'd work hard to make it happen. I loved teaching and learning. I loved being a student, and I really loved the professors that blew my mind with new ideas and made me see the world in new ways. And I wanted to be that kind of teacher. I wanted to expand the minds of my students and make them challenge their conception of reality, expand their worldview. And so being a college professor seemed the ideal profession for me. So after following my heart to other experiences, eventually I became a full-time faculty member, and I loved it. I loved teaching, I loved my students, I admired my colleagues. I enjoyed doing the research, the challenge of research, traveling to conferences. I even enjoyed the endless meetings. After a while, the glitter faded, and I started to see signs that made me question. My heart was kind of nudging me in new directions. Is this really where I'm supposed to be? But my head was saying, you got a tenure-track faculty position. Oh my God, do you know how lucky you are? No one gets those anymore. This is awesome. You are living the dream. When you get tenure, you're going to have job security for life. And I have to say, that was an idea that was really appealing to me. So I ignored what my heart was trying to tell me, and I stayed. Well, the environment steadily grew more and more toxic, and the universe was sending me bigger and bigger signs, but the voice in my head was drowning it all out. Oh my God, you're so lucky. No one gives up a tenure track position. You'd have to be crazy too. Soon you're going to have tenure and life will be easy. And I stayed. So about 5 years ago, the big day came. I went up for tenure and I didn't get it. I felt angry, betrayed, but at the same time, I recognized that something way deep inside me was doing a happy dance. And when I took the time to listen to my heart, it was saying, you're free now. You can choose what you want to do next. What do you want to do next? And I knew at that time I wanted 3 things. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to be of service to others. And I wanted to embrace my woo-woo side, my unconventional spirituality. I've been reading tarot cards since I was 20. I am a trained past life regression therapist. I'm an experienced channel psychic medium, and I have a passion for astrology. And I knew that my life's purpose was to use these skills and knowledge in service to others. So I became a certified Martha Beck life coach and developed my own approach to coaching. So when I fell off the tower, I felt like these guys on their way down. But by the time I hit the bottom, I landed with joy, freedom, and purpose. So my life's mission is to help others align with their purpose and joy so that universe doesn't serve them a tarot card of tower. And for those who are already in free fall from the tower, I can help them land gently and hit the ground running. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Can I get 1 minute on the timer? Thank you, Rosanna. Next, I'm going to invite Karina Aragon to the spotlight. Karina is the evaluator for Linda Patton, and she will give us the speech objectives. Karina?
Hi, Karina here. I am introducing Linda Patton, and she will be doing a speech on today's leadership skills for tomorrow's world, busting myths about what leadership should look like. I'm pretty excited about that. I'll be evaluating and looking at how she presents her presentation, develop skills for sharing information with the group through a presentation. So I'm really excited about the vocal variety and clarity, looking at how she transitions from the beginning, middle, and end. So I'm excited. Thank you, Linda Patton.
Thank you. And now I'd like to invite Linda Patton to the spotlight. Today's leadership skills for tomorrow's world, busting myths about what leadership should look like. Today's leadership skills for tomorrow's world, busting myths about what leadership should look like. Linda Patton.
Could I give you any longer a title? Okay, hang on. Let me get out of all the things that I'm in, because obviously it wants to show you everything. Don't say, go away. Okay, are we getting there? We're there. Can you see the PowerPoint slides?
Yes.
Okay. What I wanted to do, because this said using presentation software, was really walk through what it took for me to put together this presentation. It's one that you've seen before, but we keep putting slides in, taking slides out. Why do we put them in? Why do we take them out? What's important? What's important to the audience that I'm speaking to? And where do we want to have more depth and more description about leadership? So the title hasn't changed. It's still today's leadership skills for tomorrow's world, busting the myths about what leadership should look like. Now you'll notice that the screen next to it is grayed out. That was my credentials, and I felt I didn't need that with Toastmasters. So instead, I looked at what have I done in leadership? Well, I've written 2 books of my own. The Art of Herding Cats, Leading Teams of Leaders, which was designed for network marketing folks. It's a 12-step process of growing your leadership, and it is truly a recovery program for reluctant leaders. The other book, which came out last year, is No One Stood Up When I Entered the Room, One Woman's Journey from Command to True Leadership. And this is really my penultimate book. It's the one that I'm speaking from because I truly believe that we as women have been mentored as commanders instead of being taught a better way to do that. So I talk about my background. As most of you know, I come from the military. I retired as a major from the United States Army. I was on the lieutenant colonel's list, but because I didn't have any active time between my major and my lieutenant colonel, they said they couldn't give it to me. So we won't talk, ask me sometime why that was the case. What I found was I wanted the criteria of what was command. And so we actually have a fly-in
of decisive, powerful, intelligent, direct, and focused. And those are really powerful things that the masculine model provides for us. But we also have how your followers can see you. And they often see you as authoritarian, competitive, dominant, arrogant, and stubborn. So that's not necessarily good. So there are 3 common command challenges. So I put that into this slide with just the words. Now you'll notice again that there are 3 picture slides that are grayed out. When I'm doing a 5 to 7 minute speech, I can't go through all of these. If I'm giving a 15-minute or a half-hour speech, then yes, these can be in there and we can talk about them in greater detail. So you have to know how long is your presentation and what can you put in it and what do you need to leave out of it in order to make the presentation still powerful and insightful into what you're talking about, in this case, leadership. So one of the key pictures that I wanted to leave in here was my lion. You can't really see them, but behind me is a picture that was done of a lion pack, and it's all the females with a few cubs, and nobody's looking at anybody else. They're just sort of wandering down the street. It's called changing lanes. And the cool thing is there's one lioness way in the back, and she's the only one that's looking behind them. And she's looking at the hyena that's stalking them. So she's the only one who's concerned about the health and safety of the pride. Now, in this case, I talk about the fact that my team would disappear in the night, and my clients were one and done. They do one project with me, and they didn't like it. They wanted to move on. They wanted someone who was more in their heart and less in their head. And I didn't understand that. So I decided to also use a metaphor with Goldilocks and the 3 bears. So you all know that Goldilocks went through their food and it was hot, cold, and just right. But then she got tired because the meal just, she was so calm and so relaxed that she needed to take a nap. Well, the first bed she got into was Papa Bear's. Now, Papa Bear very much represents the masculine. He's commanding, he is a force of nature, and everyone listens to what he has to say. His bed was too hard. I also have a metaphor with a dancer, and as you can see, without the feminine, the masculine looks really odd. So then we talked about influence, which is the softer side. It's the feminine side. And you can see all the characteristics here. Again, we have them fly in and we look at, well, what might male leaders think of you in influence alone? And that's the passive, agreeable, permissive, eccentric, and emotional. The 3 common challenges for the influence style. And I think the key one here is trying to be everybody's friend. And that is a real challenge because you actually step over the line. So for Goldilocks, she laid down in Mama Bear's bed. Now, Mama Bear was a force of nature at home, but she was the softer of the 2 bears. She made sure that everyone got off to work and all of that. But Goldilocks got in her bed and it was too soft. Again, with our dancers who are not in this presentation, can you imagine how she would have to do this without the man holding her? He provides frame, and that's important. So what am I going to do? I can't be too strong. I can't be too soft. So what do? Confluential is the blending of the command and the influence. And the key criteria is being curious and asking questions, understanding the strengths of your team members, and bringing members on board who complement you. So for Goldilocks, it was the baby bear's bed. And there she found the perfect place to rest her head. And for our dancers, when the man provides organization, structure, and strategy, it allows the feminine to be creative and to do her magic. So top 3 secrets of successful leaders. And my call to action, give me a call today be courageous, dare to lead. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Linda. And can I get 1 minute on the clock for the evaluator? Thank you, Rosanna. Thank you, Rosanna. That's the time. We have one more speech, and it's not last but not least kind of thing. I'm going to invite Isaac Ford to come forward. He's the evaluator for Michelle Pedicolis, and he will explain the speech objectives. Isaac?
Hi, I'm going to be evaluating Michelle. It's from the Dynamic Leadership Level 2 Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring. The purpose of this speech is to define the Toastmaster mentoring what Toastmaster envisions mentoring, and for the mentor to share a previous experience as a prodigy. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. And now I'd like to invite Michelle Pedicolis to the spotlight. Michelle Pedicolis, the best mentor. The best mentor, Michelle Pedicolis.
I want one. That was my first reaction after seeing the Pathways video about mentorship. What it was doing was comparing the coach, who is directive and is focused on a single kind of area, to the mentor. Now, a mentor opens you up to your whole goals, what you want as a mentee, and also helps you to figure out how to get there. Well, I knew about coaching. I'm a coach myself. And for a long time, I was a grief and loss coach. So it was a very specific area, and I could be very directive. But I was really interested in this mentorship where you actually help somebody to grow by asking them specific questions and helping them to see what they need to do. I have to admit that most of my life, I have had coaches and trainers and teachers who are very directive. In this goal-directed, results-driven culture, it's understandable. If I had to think about this, I would have to say that the most mentorish person in my development was my mother, which is kind of surprising to me because actually I spent my childhood trying to avoid her influence. But my mother was an artist. She was a photographer. And when it came to creativity, well, she was creative. She gave us materials, paper, pens. She showed us how to use a light box. She showed us how to use fabric and a sewing machine. She showed us how to use a camera and a dark room. And then she'd show us a little demonstration, and then she would let us have at it. And I learned so much from that experience because I got to learn my own way and find my own power and strength. And to this day, it's embedded in me. I don't second guess it. So when when my husband asked me at Christmas time to create a tea cozy, no problem. I created without any pattern. And it really works too. Now, my father was much more hands-off than my mother. In fact, he let her pretty much take over the training of the kids. But when I asked him for help, he would take over. Which brings me to another point that I want to make out about mentorship. There are two kinds of behavior patterns that can get in the way of being a real mentor. And one of them is what I call the hero. And that was what my father was. I came to him and I asked him for help in a geometry project. I was supposed to create some kind of object that demonstrated the use of squares and angles. And he created a house, a Japanese house. And it was beautiful and it was lovely. But you know what? I didn't learn a lot from the experience. I got a good grade, but I didn't really get what it was about. So that's the problem of the hero. They want to save you. They want to provide you with a solution. And in my own coaching, I've learned that a hero is acting from the desire to be appreciated. Now, the other pattern that I've noticed that gets in the way of mentorship is what I call the controller, is somebody who tries to direct and command, which is kind of like what a coach does. And what I found was that my mother, who most of the time was hands off, when it came to you coming up with a really good idea, she wanted to sell it to some toy company in New York. And then she would take over. And suddenly this grand experience of creativity turned into my being an employee. And so I lost that magic. So there we have it. We have the controller. And what makes a controller? Well, it's the desire to have a particular outcome because you're invested in that outcome. And I can relate to that because in Toastmasters, I am a mentor, and sometimes I'm very invested in the results. And I've had to learn to step back, to step away from that inclination to take control. And I have found that when I incorporate mentorship into my coaching and into my Toastmaster mentorship, things change. When I ask specific questions that help somebody to shift, to see things in a different way, my clients, they actually grow much faster. And the same is true when I'm working with my mentees and Toastmasters. I worked with one mentee, or I guess a protege, for a year, and I was kind of taking on that control approach. And basically she sat around and waited for me to give her the directions. But since I've stepped back, since I've started asking questions instead of coming up with the answers, she has grown tremendously. So I want to leave you with, because I know that most of you out there are coaches. Ask yourself, how are you letting hero step into your coaching or controlling into your coaching? And how can you invite more mentorship? And by mentorship, I mean putting the mentee, the client first, putting them first in what you were trying to accomplish instead of your own need to feel like a hero or to have control over the results. And when you do, the results are remarkable. And now, if you are a mentee, I strongly encourage you to demand that your mentor allow you to discover your strengths and to grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. And can I get a minute on the clock, Rosanna? All right, thank you, Rosanna. That means the time's up there. So we've gone through the second part of our speak-a-thon, and it's time to do evaluations. So first I would like to invite Cynthia Stott up to evaluate Deb Peretz, our newest member.
Thank you, Jean. Deb, I really enjoyed your speech. It was quite a journey. It was like the hero's journey. About you went up in peaks and valleys, and you had challenges. I loved the way you paused. You're obviously a good speaker. You're as a instructor in college, on your way to being a professor, you have a lot of experience with conveying information and pausing so people can hear what you have to say. What I'd like to see a challenge, and this is a big challenge for an icebreaker, but you're an advanced speaker, so I think that it will benefit you to hear it. I would like to see a little more drama. You can use vocal variety to create that drama. You can get quiet and then loud. And one of the ways that you could have done it was with your tower, how you fell off the tower and your world came crashing down because you weren't able to get your professorship. Showing some more emotion with that, with vocal variety, maybe your facial gestures, your facial expressions, your gestures. And I also think that you would be really benefit by showing your vulnerability to your audience. This was a very powerful story and touching. So if you could let them know maybe why you were passionate about being a professor and instructor, and how you were disappointed with that you weren't going to be a tenured professor. And then now how you can incorporate your passion for teaching in your transformational coaching, and how that it's carrying you forward into a deeper part of yourself where you're able to instruct people and give them information. But more than that, you're able to give them transformation by seeing insights into themselves through the tarot cards and astrology and the different things that you're doing. I would really encourage you to take that vulnerability step. And you can look at Brene Brown's TEDx talk called Vulnerability, the Power of Vulnerability. And she really shares how that endears you to your audience. Even if you're not pitch perfect and dotting your I's and crossing your T's, they're going to feel you, and they're going to feel that you're with them and be more compelled to work with you. I look forward to your next speech. I'm very excited. I'd love to have you aboard. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. As usual, a great evaluation. Next, we have Karina Aragon giving us the evaluation for Linda Patton. Karina?
Hi, can you hear me? All right. Thank you, Linda Patton, for your speech. I really like how you introduced your books first. And it gave me like a sense of knowing, because I had no idea that you wrote those 2 books. I haven't been here in a while, but so I really enjoyed that. So thank you for introducing also what led you to write the books, the command approach. Being in the military, you were trained to be more of a masculine approach, and it was nice to hear that you had noticed that it just wasn't working for you. I like your explanation with the lion and being like a leader and more protecting, and then the Bernstein bears. I like how you also explained the balance between the masculine and feminine and the differences and finding that balance. I would have liked to hear a little more vocal variety, like maybe when you were talking about the Bernstein bears, like do like a bear voice. As a challenge, you may want to interact with the audience a little more, maybe with a question, just because we're virtual now. Maybe start off by asking a question pertaining to maybe the styles of leadership, or ask us if we have experienced a coach or a teacher that was very commanding, that embraced more of the masculine energy. But overall, I really enjoyed your visuals, your PowerPoint. I thought that they were organized very, very clearly. And yeah, thank you for sharing your journey and balancing your leadership styles.
Thank you, Karina. And our final evaluation is Isaac Ford, evaluating Michelle Pedicola. Isaac?
Thank you. Michelle, outstanding speech. What I liked about the speech was your gestures. You were very expressive with all the different situations that you went through. And the title, which is the best mentor. I liked how you talked about your mother as your first mentor. And the points that you made were things that I never really thought about that you brought in, like one, the hero, which seems like a guy thing. I mean, your father is trying to just be the hero of your project or whatever you're asking him about. And then the mother being the controller, which was about how she was really invested in you. But then you got to the third thing, which I thought was really enlightening, which is the asking questions to really find out what the mentor or the mentee needs by finding out from them, by asking them questions. So I thought it was very informative. You hit all 3 points. You told a personal story about your mother and your father, how they influenced you, and the different ways that they were mentors. Suggestions, I don't know if you would have a lot of time, but whenever I hear a speaker, I want to know, why should I listen to you? And you got so many qualifications to let a person know why they want to listen to you. And because the speech was so short, I don't think you had a lot of time to talk about all the credentials that you have. But overall, I would say, excellent job. I mean, I've heard you speak before. You're a really good speaker. So it's not a lot that I could say to give you suggestions. So the only thing I would say is I look forward to your next speech. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Isaac. And it is hard to evaluate speakers who are really good. So thank you for acknowledging that. But as you know, we can always improve. That's one of the points that here at Heart to Heart, we take deep into our hearts. I'd like to make an observation before we do the timing run report. And that is, our theme was 2020 hindsight. So I took a look and listening to everybody. The first part, for 2020 and the new year, we fell off our own tower. Thank you, Deb. But we focused on the core growth drivers and leadership, being born to be a leader and the skills to be a leader, and included prosperity and mentorship, which are all great things for us to aspire to grow in 2021. Just a thought of how synchronicity pulls together when we say we're going to do a theme. There's a way that they all tie together. And now I'd like to invite Rosanna to take the spotlight and give us our timers report.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. We had 2 different kinds of speeches today, the 5 to 7 minute speeches and the icebreakers, which are 4 to 6 minutes. And the 5 to 7 minutes, I clocked Kimmy Avery at 7 minutes and 15 seconds, Sandra Edwards at 7 minutes and 22 seconds, Linda Patton at 7 minutes and 17 seconds, and Michelle Peticola at 7 minutes and 3 seconds. The icebreakers are 4 to 6 minutes, and I had a Tawfiq Kader at 5 minutes and 42 seconds, and Deb Perez was 5 minutes and 50 seconds. The evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes, and this is what I have. Lynn Fraley, 2 minutes and 38 seconds. Cynthia Stott, the first time around, was 2 minutes and 29 seconds. Annabelle Bell Colstock was 2 minutes and 42 seconds. Cynthia Stott again at 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Karina Aragon was 1 minute and 35 seconds. And Isaac Ford was 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Madam Toastmaster.
Great, thank you. You might wonder for our guests why we do the timing part. That helps us hone our ability to give a speech within a specific set of time, and then to find out if we were able to do it. When you get out into the real world and you're speaking, as a practice, it's important to be able to do timing. Because, for example, if you were brought in to be on a talk show, and all of us deserve to be on Stephen Colbert sometime, they actually give you 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 8 minutes. Yeah, so we have to be able to keep the timing ourselves to be able to be asked back. So this was a great meeting. We had some great speakers, and now it's time for us to close this portion of the meeting, and I'm going to invite our president, Kimmy Avery, to take the podium now. Kimmy?
Hello, everybody. What a fabulous meeting this has been. It's just, I'm blown away by the speeches. I'm so happy we're going to have a bunch of spotlight speeches for our YouTube channel. And I'm about to invite Annabelle to speak, but I wanted to say something. You have just received in your email box a newsletter video and a PDF of what's coming up this year. So please check it out. And when you go to the YouTube channel, click like, subscribe, and that will help us grow our visibility. And that's what we're all about, is growing our visibility. On January 15th at 4 p.m. Pacific time, we are having a meeting for our YouTube/newsletter, which is called 30 Minutes or Less with Heart2Heart, video and print newsletter. So if you are interested in learning the background details about YouTube, on how to do things, how to post it, what works, what doesn't work, join us at that meeting. And if you want to be spotlighted or cameoed in the newsletter or participate, every newsletter you'll have your bio underneath the video and in the print newsletter. So it's a great place for visibility. With that said, I'm going to invite Annabelle, our VP of Education, up to the podium.
Hi, everyone, all members of Heart2Heart. I second that what Kimmy said. It was a fabulous meeting, such great speeches. So much fun to have a club, a meeting with so many speeches. It's just so interesting. I would like to remind you to sign up for roles for the, we're having a contest next month. So March will be open for regular speeches. But I would highly recommend you going into our website and just getting to know the where to find the agenda and other things. There's a lot of information in our website, and Deb will get you set up in there soon. Also, if you have questions about pathways and OATM, which is an amazing thing that I don't want to get into because we don't have a lot of time, but if you want more information about it, it's an amazing award that Toastmasters members are eligible to get through some various things that they need to do. So if you want more information on that, talk to Michael Ann and talk to her too about, there she is, Pathways. She is our Pathways, VP of Pathways, so she is the Pathways person to talk to. And also, if you want more information or if you want to get involved, like Kimmy said, in the newsletter, talk to Gary McKenzie. He's our VP of PR, so he will be glad to hear if you are interested in. And really, I'd highly recommend that you come January 15th and get involved. The newsletter is really fun, and it's such a great way to get visibility and talk to people about what a cool club we have. And one last thing I wanted to say is that we had a great meeting. We had 20 participants. 6 of them were guests. 14 are members. 10 of those 14 are officers or shadows or mentors. Isn't that amazing? So everybody, thank you for being here. And I will go ahead and give the podium back to Kimmy.
Awesome. Yes. If everybody who Annabelle just mentioned, Michael Ann or Gary and myself, if you're interested in the newsletter and you want to join, you can email me and I'll post my email in the newsletter or in the chat box. It is a fabulous way to participate, and we'll be here for, I will be on for a couple minutes so that you can go back through the chat and check things out. And I just posted the newsletter video in the chat box. Okay, so we have a few guests left, a couple that had to leave early. And Sarah said, oh, what did she say? It was the club was very welcoming and healthy. It felt like a constructive space for growth. So that's great. I'm hoping she joins. I think it would be really wonderful for her. And I would love to ask, let's see, we've got Deb. Well, Deb joined. So maybe we won't go into you since you've already been here and you spoke today. I apologize.
Oh, I like what she chatted up though. Can you read what she chatted?
What did she chat? Can you see?
I've been wanting to join Toastmasters for a while now, but didn't find a group that I really connected with. Listening to today's speakers, I'm so excited to be here. What an amazing group you all are. Thank you, Deb.
Yay! Everybody pat yourselves on the back for that one. We are doing, that's one of the keys about our club. We really want to welcome everybody and make them feel amazing and help them shine their light to the world. And that's why we're here. Marlo, would you be willing to share what your experience was today?
She's on mute. So maybe there she goes.
So,
hi, Marlo.
Hi, Cynthia. It was great, awesome meeting, and I didn't have to travel anywhere, so that was really awesome. I hope you continue the virtual for forever, and I also I clicked the link in the chat box, so I've got double things going on here, so I don't know how to get rid of them.
Oh,
that's okay.
And Marlo, we are going to continue Zoom forever. When we meet in person, we're going to have a hybrid meeting, so we can always accommodate you on Zoom. So you can come from Healdsburg on Zoom and meet with people that are coming from Byron on Zoom. It's all good.
Right.
Oh, it is all good. You guys have choices.
Since we've added this factor, the Zoom factor, it's giving everybody so much more flexibility and connections around the world. I mean, we had Uruguay and Bahrain here. So that brings me to Lori, I think, is from Uruguay. Lori, did you get your mic working? I can't hear you still. Let's see. If you can, do you want to type something in the chat? Are you still here?
Actually, Lori is from Livermore.
Oh, Lori's from Livermore. Okay.
But
right. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if she stayed.
Lori, can you share something? Would you be willing to share what your experience was like? And I may not be able to hear you. So gone. And if you want to type it in the chat, you can do that too. Did you do that? Okay. I typed in the Zoom link for the newsletter meeting, which is 4 p.m. January 15th. That's the YouTube/newsletter meeting, or you can email me at kimmyavery@gmail.com. And I'm going to have Michael Ann put her email in there, and Annabelle and Gary or somebody put Gary's in there. And on that note, this is it. Our time is over for today. I wish you the best 2021. Come back for our contest on February 6th. And man, make it a wonderful new year. We are
Good to see you, Karina.
And I'm going to stay on for a couple minutes just to make sure everybody can get the chat that needs to. And Michael Ann just put her information in there.
Nice to see everyone.
Yeah.
Great to see you. Yes, Happy New Year.
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 And Lynn, thank you for your feedback. That was really great.
Yes,
appreciated it. I love your hair too. Woohoo!
Look, right?
Yeah.
I'm starting to tie mine up now. Just getting unruly.
Unruly. Well, I haven't cut mine in a year, so I may trim mine, but I'm liking the long look.
My hairdresser said that. She says people are enjoying letting their hair grow out, and I thought that's really fun.
Yeah.
And Rosanna, I'm so glad to see you. Awesome. I know you've
Yeah.
been working hard on your book release.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys, when she publishes it, you've got to read it. It is amazing.
Did you write a review for it, Michelle?
I will. I gave her my review and she said for me to post it when she launches, so I will.
Okay, great. And also, Rosanna, are you still looking for reviewers?
Always.
Well, I'd love to read it too. I'm reading a novel now. My God, a first one in years, but I'd love to read yours.
Thank you.
You know what? It was so amazing that I read it on my computer, and I never read any books on the computer. And I just, every night I was going in to read what was the next thing.
What's the title of
Oh,
your
wow.
book, Rosanna?
Thank
what's
you.
What's the title?
Daughters Inherit Silence.
Ooh.
Say that again.
Daughters Inherit Silence.
I would love to read that. Oh my
Thank
God.
you.
And I'd love to review it. So yeah.
Okay, I will send you an email. Thank you so much for offering.
Well, my pleasure.
Rosanna, do you want to post a link or anything? Do you have that ready for people if you want to post it
Or
in
maybe
the
just
chat?
your email?
Or yeah.
Just your email so she knows who's picking it up.
Yeah, because it's private.
Right.
Actually, I don't mind at all.
Well, and here though, it's at this point, I mean, the chat's not going to go up onto YouTube.
Yeah, the chat is
But
just
this
for us.
video is, and we're going to be able to cut out chunks of everybody's talks and post those under spotlighted videos with people's bio underneath.
That's
On
great.
YouTube.
By the way, I wanted to point out to you that both Kimmy and I used a new app called Camo that allowed us to use our iPhones as a camera. And that's how I was able to stand up and have myself be seen, even though right now I'm down here. And it's amazing because it gives you all the strength of the iPhone video and the sound. So
yeah, and the look was great.
Thank you.
I was going to comment on that. Wow, and that's your new app.
That's the new app.
Yeah, and that's why I was a little frazzled when we were doing our first meeting because we were in the process of setting it up and because Michelle had sent me the link and I was like, okay, I'll try it. And so I had a lot more room to move around than I do in just the video screen here.
Oh, interesting.
Like here I've got literally like what, maybe 2 feet. But so
right now they're having a special where you can get it for 40% off, like for $23 for a whole year. But you can also download it for free. It just doesn't give you as much functionality.
Right, and we upgraded to get a little bit more. And somebody commented that the roses were good, which they were, and but my whiteboard, like, yeah, I was moving a little bit too much or something. And, I could have done that slightly differently. But anyway, it's a learning experience, and I'm going to